Well, good morning, folks. It's the real Captain Kirk here. It is the 25th of January. If you like countdowns and you like spring, you might like this one. According to meteorologists, we define spring as March through May. So the 1st of March is only 35 days away. If you like the sun, he actually says 53 days away. So I'll get a little longer if you want to go that route. But again, very much looking forward to spring here. Last week's summer here, again, this is 17 through 20 January. This big map is temperatures versus last year on a National Retail Federation calendar, how big retailers like to look at the weather. Here in the U.S., we were about 2 degrees warmer than a year ago, warmest in 4 years, 11th warmest in 35 years, so above average national U.S. temperatures. On the dry side, 64% drier, driest in 3 years, and 5th driest in 35 years, so much below average precip last week. Snowfall was up a bit, but still 13th least in 35 years, so below average on that front. Looking at Canada, a tad cooler than last year. Europe, quite a bit cooler, 4.5 degrees cooler than last year. Russia, a lot colder, 15.2 degrees, coldest in 7 years. China, kind of flat, same as last year. Australia is a tale of two halves of the country there, 6.2 degrees colder than last year, coldest in 35 years. So really cold where the people live on the east coast of Australia, but really hot in that southwest part of Australia. India, again, same hot trends here, 1.2 degrees warmer, warmest in 12 years. Brazil, cooler, and again, coolest in 13 years. Maps inset left there versus average. Some other things that are trending down here is flu continues to plummet. Flu is just at historic lows here compared to the last couple of years that have been near record highs. So way down. Map left, bottom left there is versus this year. So virtually low flu activity versus last year, pretty much widespread across almost the entire country. The good news here is the chart upper right here shows COVID trends, and we're approaching 9-week lows, at least on a national scale. So 9-week lows in terms of hospitalization rates and deaths. So that's certainly some good news. Let's hope this trend can continue through the spring and plummet through the summer. So that would certainly be some welcome news. Looking at this week, the last full week of January here, hard to believe, but January is almost in the history books. 1.8 degrees colder than last year, 14th warmest in 35 years, so above average national temperatures. Maps inset left there versus last year. So again, northeast is seasonably cool, and but again, compared to last year, much colder than this time last year, which is again very warm last year. 74% wetter versus Hawaii, wettest in 8 years, 4th wettest in 35 years. So pretty wet for the U.S. overall this week after some dry weeks. Snowfall way up. We've got pretty much widespread heavy snow through the Sierras of California, the Southwest Rocky Mountains, and spilling out into the central U.S., Iowa, and then all the way across, kind of fizzling as it approaches the East Coast here, but way up, most in 17 years for snowfall this week. And again, a lot of that is just Southwest and Central. If we look at the snowfall maps here, again, unfortunately, it's backing off a bit for snow lovers in the east, but here today, system going through the central U.S., that looks like Iowa is the big winner here with some pretty widespread 8 to 12 inch plus amounts through Iowa. And then again, as we get into Tuesday, Wednesday here, a little bit in New England. But again, we're watching a system here for Thursday. TBD, models are trying to make a big storm, but it looks like it's just a very fast pattern with the low developing off the outer banks of North Carolina, but then racing east as opposed to northeast. So again, not looking for much snow here in the northeast either Tuesday or Thursday. Some, but not as much as the models may have been hinting here just a day or two ago. And then ending Saturday here, again, much of the snow in the Rockies. Polar vortex, again, just really doesn't want to make it into the U.S. It's been parking out over Russia and China, and some minor intrusions here into the Alaska, northwest Canada. Maybe a teeny glancing shot here in the northeastern part of Canada, but very quick and looks to become a little more symmetrical here. Once these polar vortex breaks up, it's hard for them to kind of regain their circulation, kind of like a tornado, but looks like it's trying to, maybe toward the end of this period as we get out toward the first part of February here. So again, right now, no major polar vortex for the U.S. in terms of a full onslaught here, just tiny glancing shots, if anything. Look at the first full week of February here, hard to believe. About a degree cooler than last year, but still 9th warmest in 35 years. Maps inset left are trends versus last year. So again, even on the East Coast here, we're way above normal. Again, last year was way above normal, near record warm. So it's cooler than last year. Still on the wettest side, wettest in 13 years, 4th wettest in 35 years. Most snow in 10 years, 2nd most in 35 years. So again, still, even though you're warm, you can certainly this time of year have some snow. Looking at these aggregations here for the 2-week period across the world. So this map now is mean temperatures versus average. And it's a little misleading here because we're getting big, huge warm-ups ahead of cold fronts, and then it cools off. So just because it's warm in the east and the Great Lakes and the central U.S. does not mean we're not going to have a few cold days followed by some few warm days. It's just that the warm days tend to be a little bit warmer than those really cold days. So in any event, warm for the eastern 2/3 of the country, and colder conditions would be out more toward western Canada, western U.S., Alaska. So with that, folks, we hope you have a great week, and we will be back here again this time next week. God bless you.